Doing okay? All right. How you doing? You help with anything?
See some spray foam for windows and doors?
Spray foam? Sure. Right ahead of us here.
Cool, thank you.
This is our 100th year. The business started in 1924 as Oakdale Fuel and Materials. It was started by the Borsma family. And then our parents, my dad started working there in the 50s sometime. And eventually my mom and my dad bought the business in 1970. And all that time we transitioned away from fuel, obviously, and into hardware. And then my sister and I, and my brother-in-law and my wife bought the business in 1999.
I am a daughter of Tunis and Ethel Vanderlucht, and they actually bought the business in 1970, and I worked for them for quite a few years, and then when they retired, Rick, Bob, and I bought the business.
Getting Hillman put away. It looks like you're about done.
The community means everything to this store. It's been here for 50 years. The original owners here, that their mom was one of the first females in this industry and had to claw and bite her way up and succeeded as a strong woman, and then her daughter took over. And I think that's a really cool story.
Family has been so important, part of that experience, and my mom and dad had 14 grandchildren, and most of them worked in the business at some time. And when I look back on that, when my kids were involved, they got to meet all kinds of different kind of people from all different walks of life, and that was a great experience for them.
I started there when I was 16 years old. Your dad was a little bit intimidating on the outside, but he was a big teddy bear on the inside. And I can remember several times when, Jack Larabelle and Doug Vandenberg and we weren't busy, we couldn't do that when there were customers in the store, but we would actually tackle him up at the top of the stairs there, and we'd get him on the floor and we'd just start tickling him.
Did?
Oh yeah.
We had a barbecue cook-off, I think a couple of years, where everybody participated in a competition, and everybody in the community came out, drew a lot of people in. It was just a really fun community event.
We used to have something called the Boston Square Celebration, which was organized by the Business Association, and but involved people from all parts of the neighborhood.
Back in the day, it was different than it is today. So we had our regular customers that would come in, and sometimes they wouldn't have enough money at the time, and we just write it down, and they would come back later and pay it when they had the money. So yeah, that's not exactly how we work the business now, but back in the day, you got to know them and you knew they were going to come back and pay that money, so you just floated them some money for a while.
A half inch is going to be as short as I have in an 8, even in a sheet metal. Half.
But Randy worked for us. I don't know how old he was. He was probably 16, 17, high school. And I think your dad had kind of put me in charge of giving him some tasks to do. And I asked Randy to mow the lawn out front, and he didn't want to do it that day. And there might have been a few other things, but your dad let him go, fired him. And because Randy could be he had a little bit of attitude sometimes, but your dad fired him, and then he went on to join the Marine Corps and became a Marine. And I think he served, I don't know if he just served one tour in the Marines, but he came back later into that store and told us that Dad firing him was probably one of the best things that ever happened to him. Yeah, that was pretty inspiring, I think, for Randy.
There has been a time when Boston Square, by the larger community of Grand Rapids, didn't, and the suburbs maybe didn't have a very good reputation. Yeah, I don't know how I don't know that we overcame that. We just resisted that, and we tried to be. Whenever somebody would say something negative about the neighborhood, we would try to counteract that. There was a few years ago, there was a food editor in the Grand Rapids Press who did a review of one of the restaurants in the neighborhood, and the review of the restaurant was positive, but it made it sound like Boston Square was a really blighted area, and we took issue with that, and we were encouraged by a lot of people for doing that.
Just being in the neighborhood on a daily basis and getting to know the people that come and shop at our hardware store, you know, the friendships that we've developed over the years, the loyalty in the customers, especially the neighborhood people that we've developed over the years. So I think every day when I was working in the store was kind of a neighborhood moment for me.
Thank you. Thank you for all your support over the years of Modern Hardware.